Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. We made it. Do I have any community fans? Anybody else like Troy and Abed in the morning? I am always late to the party because I hate waiting for new seasons of any show. I Yes, streaming has totally spoiled me. So I am currently watching through Community for the first time, and I'm pretty sure that it's been like done season finale or like series finale for years now. So, anyways, that's where I'm at. We're catching up. Good morning, Christina, Pete. Good to see you guys. Yes. Okay, so we're over on YouTube today because we had a request for a full walkthrough of the software. And so, with the new creator connections functionality, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done an updated what's it called? Like an updated walkthrough. Good morning. Good to see you. So I thought we would do that. Good morning, Jess. Good to see you guys. Woo. So this morning's gonna be awesome. And yeah, I figured on YouTube it's easier sometimes for everybody to just kind of like join in. I get a lot of feedback. People are like, yeah, YouTube. So here we are. But before we jump in, I feel like there was one other thing that happened. Oh, I saw something this morning that I was going to tell you guys about. So, I saw an article about, and this time it was actually an article. This is not me saying I saw an article and it was actually a TikTok. I saw an article about the antitrust suit against Meta and the possibility that this person writing this was like, maybe they'll lose or have to like disconnect Instagram from Meta, which I'm gonna be honest, it would be I would not be sad about that. And then the other question, which I don't know if this would be more antitrust, but the kind of the next question that brought for me is like with Amazon kind of shopping for, you know, a social, if Meta loses Instagram in their current antitrust situation, I wonder if Amazon would pick it up, which would be kind of nice for us. Because I do think like the possibility of, because I think last week we talked about that Meta had, or not Meta, Amazon had made a bid on TikTok. Yeah. And so I think in our space, especially when Amazon figures out the social shopping piece, it will be good for us, whatever that looks like. So, all right, let's dive in. I know we have a lot of questions. I'm going to share my screen. So, I figured with the request for last week that we would basically like do a walkthrough of the tool. I wanted to do like beginning to end, cover all of the pieces so that um yeah, so that everybody, if you've joined us at any point, maybe just started using it without like jumping in and watching some of the older tutorials, but also if there's been things added since I did tutorials, I figured this would be a good opportunity to jump in and like, let's just go through all of it so that you guys can see all of the functionality we've built and ask questions as we go. So, all right, let's jump in. So I'm going to actually start over on search because the foundation of Fluencer Fruit is to help content creators see the information that we care about wherever we are while on the Amazon platform. So in other words, whether you're looking at search, you're looking at the product listing, you're looking at bestseller pages, instead of having to click in and out of every listing to see, is there an upper carousel? How many other influencers are there? What are the sales? What's the category, right? Like all of those things. I want to be immediately obvious to you no matter where you are. So, starting with, and I don't know what is going on with my Chrome. I'm sure one of you is going to be like, did you Google it? No, I did not. It just generally has been very small recently. But um, when you are looking at search, right? Like I did this the other day. I just bought a smart garage door opener for us. We had one, it broke, whatever. So, search being the basis for what we do when you're looking for products that have the best opportunity for both on and off site, but the Fluencer Fruit tool is definitely directed towards on site product research. We have all these questions, right? So when you're looking at first, this is called an embed card just to make it easy. So anywhere where you see this kind of like yellow square outline, that's going to be something that's being surfaced to you by the Fluencer Fruit tool. So first thing I want to tell you is if you want to not see everything that's in the card, you can add or remove any of it, right? So like if you don't care about the rating, the ASIN, most commonly if you're not using Jungle Scout to integrate into the extension, you can actually just remove all of the Jungle Scout fields here, and that takes up less of a footprint for you. I'm going to keep them in just for right now because I'm currently logged into Jungle Scout. And while we're here, I want to tell you what the difference is because this is a question I get. Like, okay, Amazon now surfaces the monthly sales, right? When we first built the Jungle Scout integration, Amazon was not consistently surfacing sales on all of the product listings. So we pulled in Jungle Scout, but quite often you'll notice that there is a difference between what Amazon is pulling and what Jungle Scout is showing. So Jungle Scouts are sales estimates, meaning they have a proprietary algorithm that they have put together for how to estimate the sales on a listing. Now, the reason there is a difference usually between Amazon sales and Jungle Scouts is because Amazon sales are showing you their estimate for that exact variation, right? So, like on this bookshelf, there's probably, I'm going to guess, like a 5 tier, a 3 tier, maybe a black finish, a brown finish, right? And so, Amazon sales is this exact option, the 5 tier with this black iron, right? Whereas Jungle Scout sales are going to be any of the variations rolled up into the sales estimate here. So when you're looking at these, if you have access to both, the reason that there is a discrepancy between Amazon's and between Jungle Scouts is just that. One is for the variation, that exact listing. One is for all of the variations on that listing. All right, so moving through the rest of this, the other kind of like field here that sometimes people will remove is affiliate. If you're just doing on-site, you can pull this off. Or vice versa. If you're doing only off-site and driving traffic as an affiliate, you can remove the influencer stuff. Now sponsored down here. The reason that we included, there's the chat. Oh, it wasn't pulling for you. Okay, perfect. Now, the reason that we included sponsored in the cards is because when a brand is driving traffic to their product listing and I have a video on their product listing, it's basically like free traffic for my content, right? So the brand can pay for traffic to their listing and I'm getting free views, right? More views. Without having to do anything to drive them there. So that's always a positive thing. Now, of course, when you first land on a page, the first ones are always sponsored, right? But the reason that this is really helpful, this is where I'm going to have to shrink my screen again, is if you're looking over here on sponsored, halfway down the page, there's still more sponsored items here, right? Like this column. So you can sort by that for brands who are currently paying to play on this keyword search in Amazon, right? All right, I'm going to come back to the drop down here in a minute. Okay, the other thing that you'll see here in the card, we've got the ASIN. You can click on it and it will copy it. Upper carousel, does it have it? Yes or no? Number of total influencers on the product listing. And I'm going to differentiate that when I get over to the product listing and I'm talking through the functionality there, but I just want to call it out now. And total number of brand videos. Do you have a video on that listing? And is it low in stock, right? So those are the basics here in the card. And this is available wherever the tool pops up. And when you set your preferences, so for example, if I had removed Jungle Scout from the listing here, when I go to the product listing, it would also not show the Jungle Scout fields, just to make it easy so that whatever information you want to see shows up consistently wherever you are. Now, the other thing you'll see here is this little cog, this little wheel. So like if you click on this, this is going to give you some more personalized settings. So like if you don't want Fluencer Fruit to show up on the bestseller page because it slows it down too much, right? Bestsellers, there's a lot. They're doing a ton of volume. It's pulling from multiple categories. Sometimes it gets slow when you're looking at that, or you just don't want it to take up the footprint on your product page. You can turn any of that off through here. Okay. Now let's go to, and I'm gonna have to shrink my screen back so that we can see this the right way, but let's go to the drop down. First and foremost, just some of those easy things. You can move this. So like if you're on the page, you can move it. But the other thing here, let's see how, we're just gonna have to go with like small for right now, guys. We've got a campaign here. Yay. Oh, the other thing that I skipped over because we're going to talk about it with creator connections, but just so you know, the megaphone here means that this has creator connection campaigns connected to it, right? Now, one of the things I love about this is when you're searching, I don't think I realized how many campaigns a lot of these ASINs have attached to them, right? So this is interesting to me because if I'm looking at these campaigns, they all end on the same date. Most of them started on different dates. But check this out. There's like 10, 10, 11. There are two of these that are 11% as opposed to 10%. Now, I realize that's like a 1% difference, but we're talking about stacking commissions and making the most off of each piece of content. If you find that all 5 of the ASINs that you're adding into your creator connections that day all have like different campaigns with 12% over the 10% that you were originally seeing, that's an extra 10% across the, those different listings. So this to me is really interesting because I actually did not know that this was happening, that people were doing multiple campaigns for the same ASIN with different percentages. So wherever you are, if you see one of these megaphones, that is a creator connections campaign. You can click on it and get the information. We'll talk more about like the whole of the creator connections campaign functionality, but for right now, just know if there's a megaphone, that's where it is. Even here, see, we can sort by which ones have campaigns. So the other day I was looking for the smart garage door opener, right? And I went through and I basically, these are our filters. So if you drop these down, now you can sort by, does it have a campaign? Yes. And it's just going to show you the campaigns with, or the listings with campaigns. And you can also click on yes for has a video carousel. So filtering now for, does it have an upper carousel and does it have a creator connections campaign? The next thing you can do is sort by number of influencers here, right? So this one is actually like a pretty solid listing. We've got monthly sales between 200 and 1,000 here. Only 3 influencers on here. The commission just from influencer commission is $576 and it has a campaign. Some of these campaigns going up to, it looks like 12%. Ending in July, looks like the one that's farthest out, right? So you can see in the filters, this helps you like pick what you're looking at really quickly. You just narrow it down really fast. So we can open this back up, right? If we don't care if it has a campaign, to only videos that have, or only listings that have a video in the upper carousel. We can also limit the number of influencers that are on a product listing. So basically, like any of the items that are in the cards, you can also filter your search results for. You can save search results settings. Oh, it doesn't show because it's a pop-up over this. But when you click on this, there is a list that pops down if you've saved filters. But like if I wanted to say, I want to save a filter set that yes, has campaigns and yes, has an upper video carousel. Now I can save this as a CC filter set And then when I click, I can go to any page and click on saved filters, select this one, and it will load these settings into your filters, right? All right, so the drop down, you can expand it. I like to keep it large, but you can also scroll over here. These columns are customizable. So like right now I have it set the way that I like to see it, which is, does it have a carousel? Does it have a campaign? How many influencer videos? How much is it going to make? And then the sales. But you can move these so that they're however you like to digest this information, this data. And then they'll stay that way on whatever page you're on. You can also add or remove any of these permanently from your drop down. So like if you, again, if you're not using Jungle Scout, you can come through here and remove those. That's Amazon. You can remove those columns from the drop down. And then the cog here does basically the same thing. It takes you over to the settings page. And then if you want to, I am not going to click into this right now because I can't remember what information it shows. But if you're looking to manage your account, so like update your payment method, um, unsubscribe, any of those things, like if you click on this little person over here, it will take you to your Stripe kind of like page management, subscription management. The thing that you can't yet do is if you want to change from like monthly to annual here, you still have to email me for that. We're working on, it's on the roadmap. I don't want to say we're working on. It's on the roadmap so that you can automatically manage your subscription. But the thing I'll tell you is just email me and I'll get you taken care of. I find that I'm not hard to deal with. So if you want to move from monthly to annual or yeah, happy to help. And then this little is your exit. So if you want to log out of Fluencer Fruit, this is where you go. All right, so that is our drop down. Oh, the other thing that I'll show you here is this little download button. So like if you are tracking product research over time and you want to make sure that a product is performing well, not just seasonally, you can download this into a CSV and it will, then you can add it either to Excel or a Google Sheet for tracking purposes. So we try to be we have been very data driven around the tool functionality that we've built, right? The one other thing that I wanted to show you on this page before we move over to the product listing is the Jungle Scout functionality. So right now, I have it tucked into the actual extension. But if you are using Jungle Scout and you wanted to look at data that we don't pull into the extension, so for on-site, we brought in daily and monthly sales, daily and monthly revenue. Those were the 4 pieces of information that are pertinent to every, influencer. But if you are doing more extensive or seller research, you can actually unhide this so that you can see. Sorry, I just pulled on my cord. So that you can see what the other Jungle Scout information is here. Now, the other thing that I'll show you is if you have the Jungle Scout integration, but you're not seeing the Jungle Scout numbers or it won't tuck into the Fluencer Fruit extension, the thing that you'll want to check first is open Jungle Scout, go into the settings and make sure that Show Jungle Scout's extension is turned on. This is how their embed card, their sales data is surfaced on the page, and that's how we integrated to pull it in. So you have to make sure that their extension for on the page is turned on in order for the Fluencer Fruit integration to pull that in. All right. From search, this shows up, by the way, we have a ticket for this. We know that this is not an ideal user experience. From here, you can go to best sellers, your ideal lists. Like these show up on any of the search pages. There are a few storefront layouts that it doesn't work with. And there are a few, like if Amazon spins up a holidays 2025 page, it's possible that the extension doesn't work on some of those. for whatever reason, when Amazon codes new pages, a lot of times there's like a code piece in there that doesn't immediately um, work with the extension. So if you have a page that you hit often that you want the extension on, that it's not currently, just let us know. Um, it's usually not a huge lift, but obviously, as we know with Amazon, I can never commit to the back end of their code and what that might look like for us. All right, so looking at a product listing, this is going to be all the same things that you saw over there. It has all the same functions. If you want to, add or remove any of the fields here, hide or unhide Jungle Scout. Let's do a quick detour. If you are using Jungle Scout, I just want, if you only bought it for the influencer portion, I want to bring up just a couple things that you can look at if you unhide it. Keywords, which is more of a hobby of mine, so you can ignore that. If you want to track stuff, what products you're thinking about, you can actually use the Jungle Scout product tracker here, and it will keep track of like their sales over time, their bestseller rank over time, right? But you can also just kind of like look at this chart. I have the pro version, so I have 2 years, but I think even if you have the basic version, you get 6 months. The other thing, and listen, I know that Amazon also does now basically like summarized reviews. I happen to really like the review summary that Jungle Scout has built. So if you are scripting, oop, there we go. Where did it go? Sorry, I don't know what I did. I tried to enlarge it so that you guys could see it and I took it away. But if you're scripting and looking for ideas around things that you can say that might help customers, coming here and running this analysis, what are the most common positive comments customers make? What are the most common negative comments? When I look at negative comments, one of the things I'm looking for is there, no, Jungle Scout is not in Wayward also. Jungle Scout is just integrated with Fluencer Fruit, still separate companies. I just built an integration where we can pull their information in. Separate subscription, basically where I'm going there. When I look at common negative comments, one of the things that I'm looking for is there a misunderstanding, right? So like, did they not read the directions? And that's why people are commonly misunderstanding how to use the product, how to put the product together, right? Like, is there a value that I can add for somebody who is looking at this product that maybe other people have misunderstood? What would you suggest to improve in this product, right? Like, these are some good kind of like summary starter talking points if you're looking for some. You can also download the written reviews, which, the last 100, and run it through your own AI if you have different prompts to write your script. So anyways, all of that is inside of Jungle Scout. Just calling it out. Most of us will use it like this, right? Tucked into Fluencer Fruit. Now, one of the most interesting things I think around the new Creator Connections functionality is on the product listing, right? So if I'm on here, I know that the one that I've searched for, that I clicked into, has a campaign, right? But it turns out that there's like 2 others down here at the bottom of the page in the suggested or advertised sections. Let's see if we can find them really fast down here that also have Creator Connections campaigns. Here's one, right? So like when you're doing your product research, looking to see like what else is running Creator Connections campaigns and seeing if it's a better opportunity is a good way to use this. All right, I've got my page on zoomed in right now. There we go. All right, so product page. All right, let's go over to Creator Hub. I'm working towards Creator Connections and the new functionality, but just kind of like working through all of the basics over to that. All right, in Creator Hub, one, I built this blur so that I can share my screen with you guys without breaking terms of service, but feel free to use it if you ever need to do a presentation on your Creator Hub information. All right, over here, we have the ability to pick which pages you are actually running your check all on. Now, this is going to be big for those of you who have 3, 5, 8,000 videos, right? Instead of having to run a check all on the entirety of your library, I don't think Lane is here this morning, but I do think that Amazon is still timing out at the 400 page mark. So if you have 10,000 plus videos, Amazon actually doesn't, it's, there's something about the way it runs. It times out with Amazon just in general. And I'll have to ask Lane kind of like if that still holds in Creator Hub or if it was just on Storefront. But in any case, if you have 5,000 videos and there's 25 on each, but you only want to run your first 1,000 videos, you can actually just run this for, pages 1 through 250 instead of all the way through, or I can't do the division on that, but whatever the case is, right? If you were like, listen, I actually have, 400 pages of videos, but I really only want those last 50, you can run it for 350 to 399. So that it will just pull that again, just so those of you who have a lot of videos, but want to pull the data on stuff a little bit farther back, or only pull the more recent, you can do it this way. And you can sort by date. You can filter by published. The pop-up doesn't show when I click on this, but here in the published, you've got show all, draft, processing, in review, published, rejected, and processing error. And then in the sort key, you have date, views, average duration, and average percentage views. So those are the ways that you can sort ascending or descending and then pick which pages you are actually running this on. So that's there. This is for those of you doing presentations or showing your screen. If you would prefer to show or screenshots, even if you would prefer to show percentages as opposed to your actual counts, you can blur and unblur your screen, and then you can download. So let's talk about what's on the screen here. Conversion rate. This is a number that Amazon has in the code. We surface it. What is the equation that Amazon is using? We actually don't know. It is a truly Amazon number where I'm sure they have a calculation, but it must include numbers that we don't have access to. So the conversion rate is never as easy as number of people who saw it to number of people who clicked, or number of people who saw it to number of sales. It we surface it so that you can see it. I would think of it as a directional, not something that you are like dialed in and making decisions around. Just like, hey, generally speaking, if you have two videos on the same product and one has a higher conversion rate, maybe lean into that style of video, right? The next thing we have here is video placement. So on the left side, let me blow this up a little bit. On the left side, you have U, which is for upper placement. And on the right side, you have L for lower carousel placement, right? So right now, let's pick one that has both for me. This video of mine is on both the upper and lower carousel. So I'm 5th in the upper and I'm 10th in the lower carousel. Now, calling out, we do currently have a bug for this lower carousel, and I've filed a ticket, so it will be in our next update. But it looks like if it says upper, it is actually just on the upper. If it says both, that is accurate. There seems to be something either new in the code or whatever, where if it says just lower, there's also the possibility that it is in both upper and lower. So I just want you guys to know that we know that that's a bug and we're working on it. So the lower placement is not as dialed in at the moment as both and upper. The next thing we have is stock. This is in stock, low stock, out of stock. Conveniently, I have all of them in my first 6 videos here for you to look at, right? And then on the right here, we have the ability to download. So this is a one-click download of your video and also your thumbnail. So if you are repurposing content to YouTube, to the other international geos, any of those things, you can one-click this, and instead of having to go back into your master library of content, just pull it from here and then load it into, repurpose, YouTube, wherever else you're repurposing your content. And then we have the skull and the crossbones, which signifies dead ASIN. So I want to say one about the dead ASIN marking. Sometimes it's possible that you will have a dead ASIN that is still showing placement and sales. Let me see if I can find through my storefront the straw really fast, because I want to show you guys what it could mean. Yes. Okay, good. If you're seeing this. All right. So this on my report shows as a dead ASIN accurately, but you'll see, like, when I go to this video, there is still a product tagged and showing. It's also out of stock, but I want to show you this. So the one that I tagged, if you notice in that video, is blue. So at the time she had a blue straw option. That ASIN is no longer active on Amazon, but the parent listing is still active on Amazon, and Amazon has attributed the parent ASIN to my video, even though it's a different color, because I only have tagged in that video the blue straw, right? So that ASIN, technically dead. It's no longer on Amazon. Parent listing is there. And so Amazon has accurately decided that my video is also associated with this variation. I have a doorbell, like those, we use them inside the house, but like doctors and dentist offices use them a lot as well, where it's like, basically I've got it plugged in the kids' rooms, and then I can ring the doorbell from downstairs to call them, as opposed to like yelling when they've got their AirPods in, right? That particular listing, I still have placement, I still get sales, but the exact pack that I bought and tagged is no longer on Amazon. So that's a good example of like one listing where, even though it will say on my reporting that that ASIN is dead, where you may see something like that, but still be getting placement and sales, right? So I just want to like show you guys some examples of when you're looking at the reporting and you're like, this is wrong. Just maybe look at it and see if it is tracking the exact ASIN and this is what's happening, or if there is actually a bug. The next question I get is, if I have a dead ASIN marking, but I'm getting sales and it's still showing up on the listing, but the ASIN I tagged is no longer there, should you update it? And I think the answer there is, it kind of depends, right? Sometimes I fall into the if it's not broke, don't fix it category, right? So like if you're still getting sales on it, even though it's showing up as dead on your reporting, just log it as, oh yeah, that's the one. Like for me, it's the doorbell, right? I'm like, oh yeah, the doorbell still gets sales. I'm not going to go in and re-tag with the new ASIN, but there are times, and this is actually the one that's currently on my creator hub here. So this one is like a cream. And I think when I looked at it, they actually have just changed the listing and this product is there, but on a new ASIN, new listing, not associated. So that's one where I would go retag it, right? Because they just moved it. But if it's the fact that their ASIN is gone, but their parent listing is still there and still associated, I'd probably leave that alone. All right. Also in Creator Connections, check all video placement. And this is going to tie into the Creator Connections functionality, right? But if you want to check your placement for the entirety of your video catalog, this is where you will click. I'm not going to do it live because, as you all know who have run this before, it does take a minute depending on how many videos you have in your library. So once this runs, though, you click on check all video placements. You'll see the spinning banana telling you that it's working on whichever page. Once that's done, you can click on this download button, and the download is going to give you a CSV that includes all of the information. A link to your video, a link to your thumbnail, a link to the listing, the ASINs. Does it have an upper carousel? What's basically the Fluencer Fruit data on it? How many content creators are on there? What's the influencer commission percentage? What's the amount? The creator connections has campaign and a link to the campaigns. The columns are there. They all say no, that there are no campaigns. So that is still coming. But basically all of the information that you can find for all of your videos is in that download. Creator Hub, this page only gives us 30 days worth of data. It's always the last 30 days. So if, for example, I was wondering how my Hank and Roy bone marrow video did in April, I actually, unless I've downloaded this through Fluencer Fruit, cannot go back and check my April data, like how many views, how many likes, what percentage people were watching, right? That's, I think, the biggest value in the Creator Hub download, outside of if you're building automations, which, I know some of you are, but is being able to track your information over time. On the manage content page, which they are now calling Creator Studios, we have the last 12 months worth of data. So basically, like if you in a snapshot are looking for how many views, how many likes, how much people are watching of your videos, if you just use the Amazon reporting, you have either the last 30 days or the last 12 months. There is not currently a way on Amazon to be like, what was my June 1 to June 30 of last year data? It just doesn't exist. So when people are wondering like why you would want to download, that's why. Just start a Google Sheet and start tracking it on your own as well. Yeah, if you have a video that usually does very well for you, and most people are watching this in their sales, right? It's like, oh, this was one of my top sellers, and all of a sudden it dropped off. Also, watching your views on it can be very telling. All right, so the next thing you're going to do with that download is you are going to go over to, I think it's this tab. It is Creator Connections. So I went ahead and loaded some stuff in here so that you guys can see this. So the widget is going to be over here on this side. Sometimes if you don't see it, refresh. It's there. It just sometimes takes like a hot minute. So from your Creator Connections download, or if you have a spreadsheet already with all of the ASINs that you're creating content for, you're going to come in here and you're going to paste your ASINs. I'm using ASINs. I do sometimes get this question, and it's totally fair. An ASIN is Amazon's something inventory number. I can't remember what the S stands for. It's basically a SKU used in the back end of Amazon to identify the product. So just in case you're using this and you generally know what it is, but have always wondered, that's what it is, right? All right, so you can paste all of your ASINs in here. You can choose auto approve or not, and then you're going to click paste and process, and it's just basically going to run through. I picked just my first page so that we didn't have to sit here all over. Let's see. How do you copy those ASINs from the download? Let me share while that's running, we'll go back to that. I will share where is it? I'm going to share the spreadsheet and I'll show you. There we go. All right. I'm going to switch which screen I'm sharing here for just a minute. Maybe. All right. Moving over to the spreadsheet. Okay. All right. So, Christina, when you download the CSV, right? Like this is the portion that you're looking for. You can come in here and just basically select these. And if you're on a Mac, Command C, if you're on a PC, Control C, if you are right clicking, which it doesn't show up for some reason when I'm sharing my screen, but you can also right click and select copy. That's how you're going to do that. So you go into the download, you find it's actually column AX. So it's way over there. You're going to find your ASIN column, and then you copy and paste from this column. So I just did, uh, yeah, I just did like page 1, I think here. Yeah. Let's see, what are the other questions here? I used a function to convert the column of ASINs on the FF download into a comma separated list. Yes, that also works. Can you download a spreadsheet of just the URLs and ASINs you have creator connection campaigns for? That's so funny that you brought that up. So in one of the future iterations, there will be 2 sheets. One being all of the Fluencer fruit, the stuff in like the previous Creator Hub download. Does it have an upper carousel? What's the percentages, number of reviews, all of that. And then a separate download for the Creator Connections campaigns, because at this point, we're looking at on this spreadsheet, right? Like with all of the data in here, I mean, we're over to column BV. 26 times 3, 18. So that's like almost 76. I can't do the math on that. 26 times 3, 18, 1, 78 like columns, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Great. I need that ASAP. I hear you. I hear you. Yep, we are working through. We are working through. All right, let's move back over to, there it is. Creator connections. Okay, I of course have none. Reshare my screen here. There we go. All right, back into creator connections. All right, so here we have, I clicked auto approved campaigns. It ran 29 out of 29 ASINs that if it was matched, you would see it here. And I do not have any on my first page. So we're going with none right now. But there are screenshots, I think, in the group where I show like what it looks like. But basically, like if you had a matched campaign, it would say, matched, whatever. If it says found but not accepted, it means either that campaign has ended. So like there is a delay right now when the campaigns have ended and them being removed from our database. So that's a possibility. The other possibility is that you've already accepted the campaign, or that it's full, right? So the other day I couldn't figure out, like, yay! I couldn't figure out why 2 of my ASINs were showing matched but not accepted, and it was because that campaign was already full. Yeah. Let's see. I am very demanding, LOL. Listen, we take all feedback and requests. I just can, not currently commit to the timeline on that portion of the roadmap. Can we get a button to rerun the approved campaigns, or an option to accept all campaigns, or if there are multiples? It's possible in the future. One of the things that I was thinking around this, because looking at, here's the other thing, Lane. I think the answer is yes, specifically around like a future button that like lets you rerun for, just matched and accepted ASINs back through to see if there are multiple campaigns. But I don't think we get paid on multiple campaigns. So like if I've done this on like the click and carry stuff, where if she's running multiple campaigns, I'll go and accept. And I don't think we're getting duplicate payments across campaigns. But if somebody has more data on that, let me know. Let's see. Creator connections, dead ASINs. I think I think we've walked through all of it. Let's see. Super. I just tried that out and it worked. Yay! Excellent. I'm 500 plus ASINs into running the widget. It found 1 so far. No way. I ran yesterday or the day before. I think I ran like 275, 300, somewhere through that, and it found 10. I was pretty impressed. Hey, Eileen, good to see you. I see different commissions on different campaigns. Okay, that's good to know. Even ones that end at the same time, I wonder if it's different sales. I assume it's not over either way. If you're making money on multiple campaigns for the same item at the same time, it doesn't matter if it's different sales or overlapping sales. So it could be money left on the table because Amazon doesn't know which campaign it should tag itself to. That's fair. I like multiple campaigns for a few reasons, including they run out of funds. That's a good, yeah, yeah. I think ultimately I'm with you guys. Like, kind of regardless of why you're getting paid on multiple campaigns, if you're making money in multiple campaigns from the same ASIN, then we need to solve for that. Yeah. You don't get more money if it's a campaign for the same ASIN. I'd rather just accept them all to make sure that I don't leave any money on the table. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm gonna have to check and see what they have on the roadmap around that functionality, but if we don't have or around that solving for that problem, basically. But if we don't have something currently, I'll add that in as something that we can do. Basically, like what I'm envisioning, and Lane, tell me if you think this is right, is basically um like once it runs through and you've auto accepted for everything, that anything that was matched and accepted, that it basically pulls just those ASINs, drops it back in, and reruns those with an auto accept. The other, what was the other? Oh, I was talking to another creator the other day, and there we go, just for now. The other question that I got the other day, and I have to think through this in way of a solution, is if you auto accept and then you're going back through like um the campaigns that are in your accepted tab, how to figure out which ASIN it auto accepted for. So like for example, if the campaign includes like 100 ASINs, um how do you find which one it auto accepted from yours? Um yeah. So I think the spreadsheet will solve for that, but yeah, we're just working on it. Can we get a button that finds the best stuff on Creator Connections, accepts the campaign, and requests a free sample, then records the video and posts it for us? Sure, I'll get right on that. What I'm hearing you say is, I would love to have something that does more work for me. Listen, I am here to build all the automations for you. I will tell you things that so the Creator Connections campaign, like matching with the ASINs, in when I was thinking through kind of like this functionality holistically, the I was thinking about like, could we also pull your video link and add it? But I'm going to be really honest, like that type of functionality, like going that far on Amazon makes me nervous. Like I would always want to be the person putting the matched file in. Um, but that's me. So when you rerun, the campaign disappears from the list, I think, when accepting campaigns. So it would just move to the next one. Wait, do you mean so when you rerun, so you've pulled like these all have campaigns and you reran it, does it not show you more campaigns because you've already accepted one? Oh wait, sorry, Eileen, I missed your question. When you accept them all, does Amazon always pay the highest commission? Oh, that's a good question. So like Lane was saying, he's making money in multiple campaigns. Um, However they're attributing that, I would assume you make the percentage that is in the campaign that they are attributing the sale to. That's my guess. I'm not sure, but most of the campaigns are the same commission. Not all, but most. Yeah. Um, yeah. I've been people running like multiple campaigns and some of them are 10% and some of them are 12%, and I'm sure they're trying to like optimize for their spend, but it's interesting on our side to just kind of like see that. Still want a way to find the most expensive stuff in creator connections. So we actually do have that coming in I don't want to say it's V2 because I have to go back and check, but we will have a way to filter and to better search creator connections because I think one of the main pain points matching for sure number 1 in my mind, like being able to match what you have with what's in creator connections for sure. But the next pain point, there are currently 93,000 in mine. Um like 90,000 um campaigns in I'm trying to pull it while we're talking. 97,000, almost 98,000 campaigns in creator connections. And when we pulled initially, it was like 93,000 campaigns with 1.5 million ASINs. So, Eric, I hear you on a better way, like one, to find the most expensive stuff. And also in that vein, like regardless of what people are looking for, a better way to process all of the information that's actually in here. Filter, sort, like I personally don't want to do um supplements, right? Like even the categories because I think like we've got newest release, commission rate, brand, potential earnings, campaign, start and end date, which I think some of those are valuable. But like, of course, if you put in potential earning, those brands are putting in like $1 billion as their budget. I mean, so that they show up at the top. I get it. They're playing the game right now, but that's not super helpful for us. Yeah. Um, No, it shows more campaigns, but the previous one you accepted go away. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so if there is a way to click the button on all of the campaigns for that ASIN, that would work. Okay, that makes sense. Currently, I get the ASIN that says accepted ASIN number. If I remove the accepted part and I rerun the ASINs to grab more campaigns. Yeah, I think at the moment that's the workaround. Yeah. Campaigns 113. Okay, this is really fascinating to me too. One of the things that I can't test, haven't, sorry, one of the things I have not tested yet. Um, and Eric, this would be interesting. I may message you later to see if we can test something. So there is a small possibility that if Eric, you have access to 113,000 campaigns, um, that if I only have access to 98,000 campaigns, that the Fluencer Fruit tool will surface a campaign that you have access to that I do not. That it will pull that, but then I won't be able to find it when I click through. So just FYI. That would be great, Liz. I have 115,000 this morning. I like seriously, I just want to know like who in their space thinks that we are able to sort through this amount of sheer information. And I'm sure they know, right? They're not like, this is great. But how do you solve for it while also opening this up to all creators? And also, I think brands still have to be brand registered, but it's unclear to me. Like, I'll still talk to brands and they're like, no, we can't get access. But then also, other brands are like, oh, yeah, Amazon reached out and has made it available to everybody. Yeah, way over 100,000, 90,000 are lame. It's true. This to me, and I know I've said this to you guys before, but this to me feels like the old coupon sites, like where when Amazon sellers were launching, you could go and they could list things like for free in exchange for a written review. This is obviously a long time ago because you can't do that anymore. Um, but that's kind of what this feels like, is like almost like a dumping ground of all the possibilities. And we just want in a way to filter through it for the good possibilities. Correction 113. They're all mostly junk. Some better filters would be sweet. Totally agree. Is there any issue with us running the scripts that refresh our pages 1,000 times? No. We have built it so that, I know one of the hard parts, right, is that this does take time to run, especially those of you, listen, I know those of you 5,000 videos and you're running the check all for the ASINs and then running through this, like, I know that it takes time. Part of the reason that it takes that amount of time is to make sure that we are doing it in a way that doesn't trigger a bot warning on Amazon. So we want to be respectful and compliant and all of those things. And part of that is that it does just like we have to limit how fast it moves, basically. Oh, up to 900 ASINs now. I like the count. I didn't think about that, but the devs built that in, like, so that you know where it is in the process. It always makes sense to me when I send something or I'm talking to them and then they go and make it better. But that's another area where I was like, oh yeah, that's fun to watch. The other day, I think I was really surprised when I first ran mine through on how many campaigns I had. That I was like, oh, to quote Lang from earlier, I was just leaving money on the table. Like, yeah. The interface is great. Thanks, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, with the Wayward acquisition, obviously, some of the next things coming, we have a V2 with filters and some other functionality. I think you guys are really gonna like it. I don't have the time frame, I'll ask, but I don't wanna promise. My problem is I get so excited and I'm like, "It'll be a couple weeks," and then they're like, "Liz, stop saying that." So, um, but one of the things that we will now have the ability to do is also flag for you guys if there's a wayward campaign. Um, so for that additional like offsite commission, um, over time, is there an international listing for it, right? Like for every piece of content, we want to make as much money as possible off of that one piece of content. Currently, one of the best ways to do that is to have that piece of content in multiple places, making the most amount of money it can make in that one place, right? So on the us.com, creator connections, additional percentage, that's the best. For in the US offsite, having those wayward, if you're repurposing on YouTube and Instagram or wherever else, like those links with that like additional commission. But the next kind of, and I know not everybody plays around with the international marketplaces, but when they have all of the marketplaces on, I make like an additional 20% on like my overall for, um, yeah, it is just a kind of extra money off of the same stuff. So being able to see, especially and we'll start flagging which ones specifically you can use for English as an approved language on it, but being able to see like, oh yeah, I can upload this one in the UK because there's a listing there. And when that carousel is turned on, you make additional money. Can we do a walkthrough of Wayward? I have no idea what to do there. Totally understand. I'm actually going to do that on a separate day, but we will do one. And let me check my calendar before I do that thing again where I'm like, I'll see you guys next time, same place. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm traveling. I don't think I'm traveling next week, but I just want to double check. Okay, no, I am here next week. So, maybe we'll do that next week. We'll use office hours next week to do a full walkthrough on the Wayward platform for creators. I will call out if you are also a seller on Wayward. Um, I do not intend to include the back end of the brand functionality in next week's office hours, but if any of you are also selling and want that, let me know and we'll work that out as well. I don't think a lot in this group are, but I don't know. People that operate in the Amazon space, a lot of times you're doing a lot of everything. So just calling that out. But yes, we can do that next week. We'll do a full walkthrough on how to best utilize the Wayward platform to make that extra commission percentage. Sorry, I keep catching my microphone cord here. Sorry. One of the things that I'll tell you that's unique about Wayward that I think is interesting is the cookie is, I think it's like 14 days. Um, And because they're using that brand attribution link, the brands can offer that like much higher percentage. Um, but it's all for offsite, right? So like it's driving traffic from uh YouTube, wherever else you're repurposing, which I know you guys are doing a lot of. So I just want you guys to, my dog is like crashed out. You just see her feet over there. All of a sudden I realized like over here, you guys are just getting like her feet. Still waiting on the acceptance there at Wayward. Christina, I'm sorry. I thought I put that in, but it is possible that that got lost in my to-do list. I apologize. Let's see. Christina. Okay. Yes. I love the puppy legs flailing around. I know she's just like living her best life over here. She makes me laugh. Me too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough life. It is morning nap time, office time. Yeah, there she goes. She's gonna readjust. And the funniest thing is like when she first started doing this, like her nails over on like this portion of the wall, because she's just kind of like she's like, yeah. Let's see. Canvas session. Anyone else joining? Good morning, Claire. Good to see you. Thanks for the reminder, Dana. Michelle, FF question. How do you populate the category that the product is in? Oh, thanks for asking this. We are pulling it from the code. Admittedly, because I did see your message about that. Admittedly, sometimes they change the way that it is buried, and the extension will put it in other if it can't find it. So there's like, I don't want to misquote this, so I'm going to underestimate. I think the extension does like a 4-step pull uh to find the category. So like basically there's like multiple places in the code depending on the page type and those sorts of things. And so it will go through. I will tell you, I think cell phones and accessories is one of the ones that the extension struggles with the most, or they change the most often, because I have seen that pull as other when in the code it says cell phones and accessories. So we're using multiple methods, but yeah, basically sometimes it can't find it, and so it says others. So I hear you. I'll submit that as a ticket just to see if we can get that fixed. I can't remember, but will you send me the ASIN in chat so that I can include it in the ticket so that they have an example of the page code to pull from, to if it's a new if it's a new way to be able to pull that from there. Oh, it's in the chat. Okay, thank you. Let's see. At home, absolutely. Okay. Okay, that's good to know that the only one that I checked because I wanted to use it in my automation, but that helps. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the cell phone and accessories pages, but they end up in other. It's in the chat. Will a future version of FF have a way to pull unique ASINs, pull and put, I think, unique ASINs to populate the CC widget without needing to download, copy, paste? I'm going to summarize this. I think what you're asking is basically like, is there a less manual way for this matching coming? And the answer is yes. Um, so I think it will even be with, I don't want to say without the widget. That might be the wrong way to say it. But yes, there's an easier way coming where you won't have to download, paste, all of that stuff. I can share my Python script if that would help the devs in Zapier that pulls the cell phone and accessories category. Yeah, send it over. Thank you, Lane. Thank you for the tutorial today. You're welcome. I hope that you guys all like enjoyed, yeah, kind of going all the way through from the basics to the Creator Connections campaign. Right on. Thanks. My pleasure, Pete. All right. With that, you guys, as always, I love our Thursdays. I'm going to start quoting my mother at the end of our calls. sometime long, long ago, my mom was dropping me off at the airport and she was like, "All right, trust your gut, follow your heart, and don't do anything stupid." And I just want you guys to know that I basically live my life by that saying. So I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have something really fun planned, like, filming outdoor content as opposed to indoor content. But I will see you guys next week. As always, tag me in the Discord or the Facebook. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we'll see you next week.